Hi, this is Amrita Sukumar, and I'm bringing to you this podcast called Unsettling. Look around you. Everyone is trying to create their own story. Make a tiny change in someone's life by just following their passion and in turn, inspiring the others to follow suit. This podcast brings to you stories of people who have defied the definition of settled set by the society and have created their own. They have found happiness in their version of settled. What is yours?
Technology is advancing every day by leaps and bounds, and to keep up with this change is a humongous task. Today, I have with me the founder of F13 Technologies. He believes that if you want people to listen to you, talk to them in their language. That is what he and his team do. They provide technological solutions and empower businesses to provide a seamless user experience. To know more in detail about what F13 does and to know more about his journey, let me welcome Mr. Amanpreet Singh. Hi, Amanpreet. How are you?
Hi, Amrita. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm alive and well as usual.
Glad to hear that.
Hey, so I just wanted to dive right in and ask this question. What is the story behind the name F13 Technologies?
So, since this particular question has now become an FAQ, so F13 is a name which came into my mind back in 2010 when I was sitting with my father in at Press Club of India, and so one of his friends faced a fraud. It was a fraud which used to happen by African hackers who used to mask emails and send bank account details claiming that you will win a prize if you will transfer XYZ amount to their accounts. And after making the transaction, press F13 and we'll give you a coupon code and you can go to the banks. Okay. So this is what happened with him, and he realized that there's no F13, and that is when this name came into my mind, that what if F13 starts to exist, how things will change. And by that time, I even don't know, I wasn't even aware about what is C, C++, etc., etc. A grade 10 student, whatsoever he knows, how to use Facebook, how to upload pictures on Facebook. But I had a basic knowledge of graphic designing and other things, and that is it. I had no idea how will this name come into existence on the planet, what will its use be, how will it will be used, how people will know. So this was it all about. Mm-hmm. And since then, I was holding in my mind that I have to do something with this name, even during my engineering, after my engineering. So there was a constant thought that this name should be alive. And since that day, the website was active in one form or the other. But yeah, there were no services, nothing. That it was like just coming soon. But yes, during my engineering, I started to shape it as a website development company. And over the time when I passed out, I was working. It was still the same, but once I stopped working, and thereafter I tried to shape it in a legal form, as well as try to shape it as an IT solutions company. Over the years, seeing the problems, we started with education and healthcare, and till last year we were trying to enter into the product market like every startup does, and we tried to build an edtech ecosystem, which was much fruitful and much beneficial as compared to the existing educational policies, as well as what other startups, edtech startups in the country are doing. I won't name any because people know. So there are things that need not mention the name, but everything is said and done. So what is being happening lately? It is very evident, as well as if you see that our current education system, it was not prepared for hosting online exam, and the entire nation went for a toss. So that I somehow discovered those challenges way before they came, and we tried to tap into the market, but then we realized that whatsoever you do will turn obsolete over the time and being as they go within maybe 4 years or 5 years. And actually most of the startups in the country fail to sustain with their product, and they end up acquiring and merging, and that's all what they do. And there's a lack of innovation, there's lack of creativity, and the offering stays the same. And me being a person who never settles with what he or she is doing, I had this thought in mind that, okay, let's check this plan. Even after investing months on this, it was the decision that shape it into something better that stays for long. And that is where, sometimes what happens is that you start on a path for a journey to reach a milestone, but then you take a diversion, and actually that diversion takes you to the bigger milestone than what you have thought. So that is what happened. And I believe,
Right.
in one of the Tim Cook's speeches, he mentioned that our generation needs to have same freedom to shape the future as our previous generations had. And that thing actually struck my mind a little too hard. And that is when I thought the problems of today cannot be solved by a single industry. And if at all we'll step into a
Right.
single industry altogether, we'll be just solving the problem of that single industry and trying to maybe merge and acquire with others. And that's the maximum we can do, or maybe step into another industry at the max. But there should be a way where we can combine the problems, or we can, if not combine the problems, but combine the industries to solve some specific problems which are global to the world. So if you talk about the impact of COVID-19, it has been so severe that every industry has been affected by it, and no industry
Right.
individually can claim that we have solved the problem. So there are problems like that, and there are many problems to come. If you see terrorism, if you see cyber attacking, if you see the
Yeah.
global political issues, as well as peacekeeping issues, security, health, economy. So this cannot be solved by an individual organization, a country, or a group of nations either. So there needs to be a holistic approach. So that is where over the time, after the genesis, we have evolved into a consulting company
Right.
and figured our way out. So I won't say that we have still figured our way out completely, because considering the unsettling or stay hungry, stay foolish approach in my mind, I always believe there are more colors that you need to add, or you can say there are more arrows you need to add in your kitty.
Right. So F13 started, and then from EdTech, you've moved on to different industries
From a
altogether.
web development company to
And
an IT solutions company, then merging
right.
into a IT solutions company offering edtech solutions, then taking a big turn. I won't say turn or a jump. It was a leap, and calling ourselves as a consulting, because that's what we've been. We realize that's what we've been doing all our lives. India में सलाह free में देते हैं, but I usually charge for it.
You
So
get nice. Yeah, but see, when you talk about being a consultancy firm, right, there are a lot of things that you have to research about. Like, you cannot just give out solutions unless you have knowledge about it. So my question always comes to people who have been providing solutions is that what kind of research do you do on a day-to-day basis, to give this kind of solution? Or has it ever happened to you that there was a problem beyond your realm of education, and then what did you do in that case?
so one problem which I'll say is beyond my two bit of knowledge that I have is the similar that was for the world was COVID-19. Apart from this, somehow,
Right.
somewhere I have heard about things. And if you talk about sports, I have been into sports during my school life. You talk about literature, since my father is a writer, so I had a
Right.
understanding about that. Technology, I'm myself into the technology. If you talk about automobile sector or aviation, so one of our co-founders, he's too much into machines and engines. And apart from that, talking about agriculture, very close to it. Talking about health, my mother has retired health as a health inspector. So somehow fairly had an idea about everything in life. So when you have an idea, you can
Right.
ponder over it, you can research about it, because you need just one single base to start your research. Maybe your entire research goes wrong, but you need somewhere to start, right? Even if it is a joke or a meme,
Right.
you can convert into something. So sometimes few of my friends call me boomer, that you don't know memes, you don't know slangs. But yeah, that is good, because when I actually end up googling it, I just don't google that particular slang. I try to get into the depths of it and from where it came into, and then I end up researching about, oh, that's a very great Hollywood director, or this was a very amazing movie or a TV
Right.
series, and this was the funding, and this was the venue, how the set was created. And apparently I ended up knowing about cinematography, not just that particular slang. So the best thing about research is, the deeper you get in there, the more you stay. So it's
Okay.
all about hitting the depths. Once you hit the depths, you are actually, getting to know more and getting more closer to the gold mine. As simple as that. You need to dig it deeper, 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 and the more you dig it deeper and you don't stop, you actually hit the gold mine, and you what you get is treasure.
Okay. So is that what you do on a day-to-day basis? Like
Yeah.
you find memes and then you follow it through?
Not exactly memes, but there are things, let's say, if Musk has supported a Bitcoin, so people will go
Yeah.
mad over it. Okay, this is what we have to do, cryptocurrency. And then I'll figure out
Right.
ways where cryptocurrency can be a challenge. So by the time people end up in trouble, so I am there to offer them solutions and, stop them from sinking their boat when they are in somewhere when
Right.
they are actually somewhere in the middle of nowhere. So you have to show them the way, because lights guide you home. So I don't try to be lighthouse,
Yes.
but somehow we end up being one.
That I completely agree, and I understand about the research part, because see, even for the podcast, I have absolutely zero knowledge when it comes to understanding consultancy and what all goes behind it. But just because I had to take this interview, I went into the depths, tried to understand what is happening behind the scenes. And I think that is the beauty of it, right? If you keep yourself constrained and constricted to one pathway, you will never move forward. So if you can just have a germ of an idea, and as he said, stay hungry, stay foolish, you will keep on moving forward and keep on learning new things. So well, can you just, assuming that I come with you with a problem, can you just tell the process what F13 does for anybody, like anybody with a tech problem or an ed tech problem or a healthcare problem, any solution that you provide?
Talking about, if so far what we have seen, be it the private sector, entrepreneurs, firms, even the government sector, the major challenge has
Right.
been the transition and the transformation.
Mhm.
So people, when they are transitioning to something, they are too scared to invest, they are too scared to take risks. That is one. And the transformation, that how they'll be changed. So this is the first two things that we need to understand. For that, the other person, the person who's seeking a solution, should have answer to these. As simple as that, what they want and what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in between can be taken care of.
Right.
So basically, you should know where you stand, and you should know where you want to be, and in the duration. It is possible or not, that can be identified. What are the resources required for that? That can be identified. What are the challenges for that? That can be identified. How to overcome those challenges? That can be identified. How to build the trajectory or the path from one point, like point A to point B, that can be identified. The time taken, simple projectile motion, as simple as that. So if you are calculating a trajectory, you can calculate the speed, distance, time, etc., etc. Vertical velocity, horizontal velocity. So aftermath can be done if they have these two answers, as simple as that. Whatsoever happens in between stays in between.
Now I get it. So assuming that I am a business, I should know that what is my identity as a business and what are the services I'm providing and where I want to reach. If I don't have the answers to these two and I come to you, then there's no point because you will not be able to
very simple
help
saying,
me
God helps
in that way. Yeah.
those who help themselves. So if you can't help yourself, I can't help you.
Oh, damn. So I need to find the solution for these two answers first before I come to you. That's going to be a little difficult. Okay, cool. So my question is that I'm just completely, I'm it's not a question, it's a statement that I'm lost and I don't know how to find the way, assuming that the fact that I am somebody who wants a solution to my problem. How are you going to give that to me?
So, let's say even if you somehow don't know the problem, but you have some set of information. I'm not calling data because that is not organized. So let's say you have take 10 random names, full names that you want to.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to take it. I'm just on the top is Priyanka Chopra. There's Anupam Kher. There's Nazruddin Shah, Elon Musk. Um, well, okay. I can remember only five for some reason. Okay. There's Komal Pandey that I follow. There's. Can I open my Instagram by any chance so that I get 10 names?
Yeah, as if anybody is going to see that.
Okay. Well, I'm just opening contacts for some. Aishwarya Chandrasekharan is one. Anaya Mundle is another. Then Tanvi Saraf is one. I think have I covered 10 names? I'm not sure.
No, one more.
Okay. Ravi Shankar Iyer.
Amrita Sukumar.
Oh damn!
Okay,
I'm also
Ravi
human.
Okay, let's say 10 names. So
Okay.
let's say we figure out one thing, we first, let's say we are trying to now segregate this information into data.
Right.
So 10 names,
Mm-hmm.
right? First we, write their genders. So
Okay.
that we have an idea that out of this, let's say 7 were females and 3 were males.
Mm-hmm.
So even from this thing, we can have some hypothesis that you basically follow more women than men,
Yeah.
or more successful women really inspiring. So you already have two hypotheses out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then their ages,
Mm.
you know it, right?
Yeah.
Then their nationalities,
Mm-hmm.
then their professions.
Mm.
Plus, the most of the people that you have said, they have actually reached the epitome of success in their individual careers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So from this, let's say if I had to, I'm not using a software here, not just very basic logic that I'm using,
Yeah.
is that you are basically inspired by more successful women
Mm-hmm.
of this particular age group. And the reason of their inspiration is because you also lie in an age group slightly behind them, and you foresee yourself as such a successful woman in your industry.
Mm-hmm.
However, you are not able to figure out ways, or the names that you have taken, and majority of them, people like Nasiruddin Shah, Anupam Kher, who've been really struggling with their work in their profession. Similarly, Elon Musk, Priyanka Chopra. So all
Mm-hmm.
these people have came out with the struggle. Not a very different approach, but yes, using their talent purely as well as the constant struggle. So
Right.
which also signifies that there are multiple ways where you can come up with your career depending upon the kind of profession that you really want to enter. So on and so forth. We'll actually be reproducing this particular information into data, then doing data analysis on it, then what you're trying to build and how you're trying to build, who all are your customers. Let's say if these 10 people are your customer, we'll identify your customer journeys, we'll
Mm-hmm.
identify what will be your key performance indicators, right? If at all they really do not become your customers,
Mm-hmm.
what to do to retarget them. And if even if they become your customer, what are their customer experiences, post buying experiences or post utilization experiences, how to bring them back. Or even if at a time that they leave all, let's say out of 10, 8 of them leave you and don't go, so how will you do the crisis management, how will you do the damage control, so on and so forth. So there are a lot of things that constantly go on. So it's like
Wow.
exam started, and after this line I'm going to charge you for that.
Got it. Got it. No, but what I understood is that data is very important. And from the data that I just gave you, I just gave you 10 names. You were able to figure out exactly what kind of persona I have. Like, technically, yes, I do follow successful women. I do have this obsession with, understanding what their trajectory is and how I can get there. And that's wonderful. Yeah, I really like this point. My next question for you is that when did you know that this is something that you want to do full time? Like, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to solve problems, and you want to do this for a living. When did you know?
So I would say that doing this for a living, that's a very, very outdated question, I'd say, not in terms of answering it, but
Okay.
in terms of, doing for a living. What does a person requires for a living? If he or she has identified that, there are not so
Mm-hmm.
many challenges. So yeah, F13 plays a very, very, very integral part in my life. But if at all somebody
Mm-hmm.
will ask that, is this something you do for a living? No. What I do for a living is basically to follow what I'm passionate about. So when you do what you're passionate about, you are actually living and not surviving. So what people call what you're doing for living is basically what you're doing for surviving. What I do for living is I am following my passion. So that is one. Now talking about
Right.
how did I get to know about this. So I have been a person, I won't say I'm a rebel, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been a person who does not fit into ecosystems very easily. The point to it
Mm-hmm.
is, if I don't like something, I'll say it on your face, and if I like something,
Right.
I'll say it on your face. So it goes both ways. As simple as that, that I cannot waste living somebody else's life, like me waste my time living somebody else's life. So if I am
Right.
there to offer you something, I'm there to extend my services, my capabilities, my skills for a
Mm-hmm.
venture, for a project, or for a vision. If you misalign
Mm-hmm.
things yourself, so I'm done already, because I can't waste living someone else's life just for the sake of few grands or few bucks. As simple as that. So that is one thing.
Yeah.
Then I decided
Interesting.
that nothing holds. I still remember my school principal saying that you should appear for UPSC exam. I said, okay, appearing for a UPSC exam, and then some XYZ person transferring you just for the sake you enter into an argument with them. So what you achieved by appearing into UPSC exam: one house, one car, few 2-3 PAs under you, and a typing assistant. That's it. That's what bot can do for you. You have a driverless car in today's date. You can stay. You can own a place to stay yourself, maybe a studio apartment or something.
Mm-hmm.
Bots can type for you. Even Siri can do that. So the only thing Siri can do is not to serve you coffee. She can order coffee for you, but she cannot serve you coffee, and which I love to do myself. As simple as that. So why should I appear for something, or why should I work for something which can be done by any other person? And so where is my own element left?
Right, got it. That is why you got into technology. You're like, I'm going to solve all these problems.
No,
that you
I'm not going to solve all these problems. I very clearly know I individually or collectively cannot solve all these problems, but yes, I can pick up a few and even if not solve, but reach very close for them to get solved.
No. What I meant was when people asked you to settle for something, you said, oh, these are the solutions that you're providing me. Well, I'll find it myself. That is what you did. Okay, fine. I've got Siri to order coffee for me. I'm a rebel, so I can find my own way. I can find a studio apartment. It's okay. I have a driverless car. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, you found your passion by being a rebel.
Yeah.
Interesting. So is there something that you felt you wished you knew when you began your career?
Yeah, mistakes that you make. But, a very common saying that, akal ठोकर खाने से आती है, बादाम खाने से नहीं आती. That's the only thing.
मैं तो इतने दिन से बादाम खा रही हूँ यार, मुझे लगा कि मुझे उसकी वजह से अक्कल आ रही है, but ठीक है, okay. So, well, as you said that it's F13 is a company which works with its team. So can you just tell the listeners about your team?
So, I'll call it, we, over the past 3 years, we are about to complete our 3 years. And over the past 3 years, the only thing that I've been saying that we are an early stage startup. And even after we become 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years old, I'll call myself or ourselves as, I'll call myself as an early stage entrepreneur and my team as, or my company as an early stage startup, because, the kind of things that we do, every day we have something new. And every day, if you start every day from zero, you're always new and you're never going to grow old. So similar is the case with my team. Over the time, there have been, paradigm shifts. I won't say changes, but paradigm shifts. There has been, a lot of ups and downs. But let's not talk about individuals of the team, because, that might take longer duration than what is limited for this podcast. But all in all, collectively, I'll say, if you talk about teams, so a team is not just the ones who work with you in office. There are a lot of people who support you from the back end. Because if you are a person who's been unsettled, if you are a person who believes in the concept of never settling or staying hungry all your life, so there are a lot of people who struggle with you, who struggle with, the challenges you face, who struggle with your achievements, short-lived or long-lived achievements, be it your parents, most importantly, your friend circle, your social circle, your, spouses, your girlfriends, boyfriends, your friends that you meet for a very short time, or, when people, let's say, you have to sacrifice on a lot of dates, you have to sacrifice on a lot of birthday parties, weddings, etc., even funerals, right? So these all fall in your team, I believe. Even the housekeeper who visits your office before you come and go, they are also part of your team. And everybody collectively, if you see in the ecosystem, your banker is a part of your team, because they support you in smooth banking and transactions. Your chartered accountants, your company secretaries, as well as even the families of the people who are working for you, they are also part of team, because they are sharing the same struggle. They are also pushing their family members to work for this particular vision. So the team size is ever growing, and I wish it ever grows. So let's not talk about individual, but yes, the only thing that F13's team is, I'd say that we are, one thing about us, we don't give up. So give up word dictionary हमारे पास है नहीं, तो जो digital dictionary होती है, हम उस पर search नहीं करते हैं, हम वो block कर देते हैं. So as simple as that.
बहुत ही बढ़िया, and that's very sweet. Yeah, as you said, it's a large team effort, right? And people just talk
Sometimes,
about the people who are there individually working there.
and
Yeah,
sometimes few people struggle even more than what you have struggled. There are people
yeah.
who actually kill up on their desires, their happiness, because they want you
Hmm.
to work towards what you want, to what your dream is or your company's dream is. So there are a lot of things. I know how many times I haven't met my friends, best friends. How many times I had to cancel my mother's appointment if I had to travel early morning on a very short notice, and a lot of things. So
Yeah.
that is how it is. Even the
So
people who have
it's
left this world, heavenly abode, even they have done a lot of things for us. So that's how it is. Like if you would have heard in one of my podcasts that my best friend then, he gave me the principal capital amount to register F13, and he's no more with us. But I'll call him the one of the person in my team all who'll stay always, even if he's not physically present. But yes, he was a part of the team. If he wouldn't have lended me that money, things wouldn't have been the same, and I wouldn't have been recording this podcast. As simple as that.
I know, I understand. It's the first time I've heard somebody talk about, the extended team rather than just the people who are there in the office. And I understand how much people play a role emotionally and mentally, providing that kind of support, which is absolutely important for a company to grow. And I'm really glad that you have such a beautiful big family with whom you work.
Yeah.
So I have a question outside of the realm of the work that you do. So if do you have any hobby, one? And if you do have a hobby, do you try to find problems in that as well? Like if you're watching a movie
Yes.
on Netflix, you're like, oh, इसमें हम solution क्या दे सकते हैं?
Yes, I do. Okay, so my hobby, major hobby is cooking and baking.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so and whenever I feel stressed, whenever I want to relax, or
Mm-hmm.
whenever I'm trying to be myself, I cook.
Uh-huh.
Myself, but for the entire family, or let's say if I have friends at my place, for them as well. However, there are a few people who still have complaints that I haven't cooked for them yet, but I hope to cook for them soon. So now, yeah, I try to find a lot of solutions. Let's say, specifically in our country, there is no parameter to measure the quality of food that you get till the last
Mm-hmm.
step. Let's say अगर आपको लौकी खानी है, आधी दुनिया वैसे ही नहीं खाती है, अगर आप उसकी क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस नहीं करोगे तो नहीं खाएंगे. अगर लौकी कड़वी निकलेगी, nobody eats it. So there can be quality assurance parameter. You can manage the supply chain well. There are a lot of vegetables that end up getting spoiled very soon, or खराब हो जाती हैं बहुत जल्दी. So you need to have a mechanism for their supply chain differently. आप टिंडे टमाटर के साथ पनीर को नहीं लेके आ सकते हो. So similarly, there are things that you cannot do. So that is one. Apart from that,
Mm-hmm.
there is a lot of chemical reactions that happen if you are making chole. So you need an acid-base reaction to neutralize things there. So half the world doesn't know about it. So there is a process. There should be a standardized process for things, not just the recipe of XYZ. And in addition to that, then
Mm-hmm.
how to consume or how to utilize the waste food. Daily household में नहीं होता,
Right.
industrial scale पे they do, but yeah, पूरी दुनिया घर पे खाना खाती है, आप कितने दिन बाहर खाना खा लोगे? So there are a lot of problems in that industry. Like I said, today's problems cannot be solved with just one industry, and the same lies here as well.
Now I get it. So basically, you never rest. That is what I've concluded from this.
Yeah, so that's why I'm here, no? Unsettling. You wouldn't have invited me altogether.
Yeah, now I get it. Now I get it. I mean, I thought you will just mention one small problem. You just went into the whole chain of, transporting food from one end to the other and also how to consume food. I'm like,
Even
okay,
how to grow
okay.
it, and how to utilize the waste
Right.
out of it.
Right. So basically this man never sleeps. That's what I've understood. Like even while sleeping, I think you must be researching about what are the best ways to go to sleep.
No, no.
Oh, thank God.
There are certain other things, but yeah, let's not talk about them.
Well, I have one question for you. So what are the lessons that you learned from your experience that you would like to share with the audience?
So one, your mentors will never leave you prepared, and you will never be ready. That is one, right? And
Okay.
secondly, like I said already, our generation needs to have the same freedom to shape the future what our previous generations had. That is second. Third, there are moments when you are surrounded by people, but you can still listen, see, or feel them individually, and you can sense their expectations from you. That is third. Fourth, don't try to emulate the people who came before you to the exclusion of everything else, contorting into the shape that doesn't fit. So if I'll try to follow what Steve Jobs did, I might end up doing nothing. As simple as that. गांधी जी ने नदी पार की थी, हो सकता है वो नदी आज एग्जिस्ट ही ना करती, तो अगर मैं वही नदी पार करने चला जाऊंगा तो हो गया. As simple as that. Some leader did something, some sportsman did something. So similarly, so I don't try to emulate the people who came in the past. Right. Apart from that, your life should be dedicated to creating and building. The moment you get stagnant, you simply merge and acquire. Right?
Got it.
Or you turn public. Right? And find hope in the unexpected, find courage in the challenge, and find the vision on the solitary road. And that is where it will take you to your milestone. Apart from that, be a builder. A builder believes that this is something that happened recently during my accident in January. It was very scary. So let's not get into the depths, but like just saved marginally, not like during the accident, but somehow saved, as simple as that, and came without an injury, major injury. So be a builder, and builders believe that their life's work will be bigger than themselves, or an organization, or an individual. And trust me, the moment I came out of that car after my accident, that was the only thing in my mind. I did not say thank God. I said, when the purpose of your life is bigger than yours, you will face challenges bigger than what you can imagine, and you are going to achieve things what you can never think of. So when you are building something, the outcome will always be, bigger than yourself, because everything lies between life and death, be it a sportsman, singer, author, journalist, politician, anybody, doctor. It's all about life. Till the time you are here and till the time you leave, everybody knows you there. But there are very few people on this planet, people whom people remember after they go, whom people utilize what they have done. People make use of what they have done. And that is what my life's biggest lesson is. And apart from that, one major thing, you need to realize that whatsoever you build or whatsoever you create, one day you'll have to pass it on. You will not be there to see the end of the story. So basically, you have to play your role till the duration you are there. So let's say in consulting, there are certain projects which are indefinite. Kabhi khatam nahi honge. You talk about aviation sector, you talk about railway sector, mining sector, etc., etc. They will never end. So similarly, whatsoever you are building, they'll go and you'll not be there to see the end of story. So till the time you are there as a part, you play your part the best way you can. Build it in such a way, so mindfully, that it affects the span of generations to come ahead. And they actually thank you instead of saying, yaar, unne kiya hi kiya tha. As simple. The last thing, don't claim credit without taking responsibility. Half the world has been doing this. So, if you can't take responsibility, don't come on the ribbon cutting ceremony.
This is the first time I've heard something so profound. Like, you've given steps to building something. And as you said, it is very important. It is not just important to build a legacy. It is important to give it back. Like tell others what you're doing so that it is carried forward. Because what we do, or we tend to do, is be a little selfish and hold on to the things that we feel are really important and whatever knowledge we've gained. And as they say, कि आप knowledge बांटोगे तभी बढ़ेगा, है ना? And we have this habit of not giving it forward, which is wrong, because if you give your information, give your knowledge to other people, to the newer generation, they're just going to build on it, and it's just going to further your idea forward. So thank you for that. I really like that. I'm going to take that away. So moving on to the final question of the podcast, I keep on asking everybody this, but I'm assuming you already answered it sometime before. And I'm still going to ask you, what does the phrase being settled mean to you, beta?
It does not exist.
That is true. That is true. I mean, settling.
And if something does not exist, it does not have meaning for me. As simple as that.
That is the shortest and the most sweetest answer I've heard. So being
considering that there have been very long answers to things, so I thought to keep it short.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So, well, these were my questions. These were all the questions that I had for you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and answering questions about consultancy, answering questions about being an entrepreneur, and telling us what all things are to be done to be successful, to be able to leave a legacy, and to be able to let others know what kind of things are important in life. And there are some things that actually don't matter. So, it's okay. So, thank you so much. And well, congratulations, you've completed 3 years. So congratulations for that. And I'm really happy that you've achieved a milestone.
Thank you so very much. I'll say you haven't achieved a milestone yet. Maybe a few centuries to go for the same. But yeah, somehow stepping stones, 3 stepping stones I have already, stepped. Now entering into the 4th one, and 4th being my lucky number somehow. Let's see how glorious it can be. But yeah, thank you so much for hosting me, Amrita. And thank you for patiently bearing with all the nuisance that I said, and shared the misleading 2 bit of knowledge that I had. But yeah, if at all, it really helps someone, even if, makes dent in one person's brain in the entire universe. I guess I did the purpose for which I was here.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi! If you can hear this, that means you have reached the end of the episode. So like, share, subscribe, follow, stay tuned to Unsettling. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can always reach out to me on my Instagram page, Amrita Sukumar _unsettling, or send me an email on podcast.unsettling.as@gmail.com. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.